Doing? How you doing, everybody? How you doing today? This is your guy Tazz Da Angel, and um, doing a Sunday live, and just there we go. Um, we are live on Facebook and YouTube today. It's been Facebook and TikTok the last couple of times, but I want to try YouTube as well. I'm kind of trying to see what type of content does better in what platform or venue, if that makes sense. So make sure y'all like the video, share it to someone. What we're going to be talking about today, as the title states, take action, not offense. But yeah, make sure you like the video, share it to someone else so they can hear this information as well. We're going to go ahead and get started. So when I say take action, not offense, it's very common in this time to allow people to be victimized by truth. Because sometimes people will hear hear something that's true, and because they don't like it, they'll consider that to be hating, or something like that, something with malicious intent instead of honesty. And that honestly became huge as a thing when the term hating became a thing. Because people misunderstand what hating is. Hating is, first of all, hating is actually hating something, which is not caring if there's any value to it or from it at all, just not liking it because it exists, right? So that's like what hating is just disliking it or not liking it, more specifically. No, it's disliking, actually. Disliking something, just because. What's up, what's up, what's up? Big Zay. Wega Moy? I'm gonna say Wega. But what's up, how y'all doing? I'm talking today about, like I was saying, take action, not offense. In this time frame, man, it's so easy for people to just say that you're hating. I'm getting a little warm, so I'm gonna take my jacket off. But it's easy for people to say that you're hating on them, and you just don't like. I don't speak Spanish. I plan on learning. Hey everybody, Shark Boy Media, how y'all doing? I appreciate you guys for coming in. Make sure you guys like the live and share it to some other people as well. I appreciate y'all for being here. So we want to we want to be open to constructive criticism, because a lot of times in this day and time, people aren't. You're told to be offended. Let's move that over there. You're told to be offended instead of actually taking the information, simply because we don't like how it feels to get it sometimes, right? So a lot of times they'll try to instantly say someone's hating on you or picking on you or trying to bully you or just targeting you in some kind of way, instead of taking time to see if that information is actually, useful. And if we do that, we'll realize a lot of times the information actually is very useful to our lives, because, we can't get to our destination on our own. I used to say this all the time, and I still say it, very often. It's still a belief, but there's no such thing as a self-made person. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't exist. All of us have been raised by someone. All of us had to have diapers changed by someone. All of us had to get fed and clothed by someone. You know what I mean? So, like, these things just don't exist a self-made person. So the mentality of thinking that, we can do it by ourselves and, do it on our own and not have to nurture healthy connections with people is just not rational. Thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate you. So we post college. But one of the things that coaches would tell me all the time, like they would say I messed up on a drill. I'll mess up on the drill and they'll come over there yelling and screaming, Steve, John, you messed up. What you doing? You gotta do. And when they got done, one of them told me, he said that, Johnson, the time I stop yelling at you is when you need to worry. When I stop yelling at you, when I stop correcting you, when I stop telling you what you did wrong, when I stop doing that, that's when you have a problem. Because as long as I'm willing to correct you, it's because I believe you have the ability to do better than what I'm looking at. He said, but if you messed up and I don't say a word, it's because I think that that's your best, and that's never a good place to be, right? So we want to keep that kind of mentality and keep that mindset, we want to keep that in mind. I don't want to sound redundant, keep that mindset in mind, but we want to keep that, in the forefront of our brains and realize that a lot of times people aren't hating on us. If we listen to what they say, we can actually progress and move forward a lot faster and a lot better. Because another thing that they try to tell us in this society is like, do it on our own. We don't need help. We don't, if somebody doesn't do everything they can, that we want them to do for us, then, cut them off. And, that we could just do it on our own. And again, like that just doesn't exist. That a self-made person does not exist. We all need someone. We all need people. And when we realize that, we become more open to the people that are around us already, right? Because like I said, when I was playing football, like if I was just taking offense and only responding emotionally because of how the yelling made me feel, then I wouldn't have let the information, which was, why are you doing this? You're supposed to step this way. Why are you taking the bucket step? You're supposed to take a slide. Like whatever the criticism was, if I allowed the fact that it was presented to me with an elevated voice to negate the fact that there's valuable information there, then I'm going to make that same mistake again. That's the thing about it. If I choose to focus on the emotional aspect of it and forget the fact that this is a message meant to make me improve, then I will make the same mistake again. And I'm going to give you exactly how, like, you'll know that I'm not lying. This is scriptural. This is in the Bible. The Bible says, and this is actually God, he said, my people perish due to a lack of knowledge. But right after that, it says, because you have rejected that very knowledge. So it's not the fact that knowledge wasn't presented to us. We perish when we don't receive and accept that knowledge, when we reject it instead of receiving it and allowing it to help us. And that's when people get hurt. A lot of times people will get warned, like, hey, don't do this. If you do this, this will happen. And a lot of times people will just, for some reason, think that they're exempt of the realities of the situation. Like, nah, that can't happen to me type stuff. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up, Sudden Strike? How you doing, man? So a lot of times when we don't receive that type of information, my apologies, then we're more likely to repeat that same mistake, because again, that's biblical. People perish due to a lack of knowledge because they rejected that very knowledge. So when people are giving us information to help us progress, it's time to stop being offended, man. If someone says, hey, you didn't do this right, this is how you should do it, stop responding emotionally. It does not help us. It does hurt us. It does, however, hurt us because when you have genuine friends and genuine family, not just relatives, family, that are telling you things that, hey, if you stop doing this and started doing this, it would help you for what you're trying to do, or whatever the case may be. If you respond with hostility to all of those people, then you can run out of grace. You know what I mean? Like a person, like people will say, I hope you can wear out your welcome. You know what I'm saying? Like you can run out of grace with people because who wants to keep helping someone and them yelling and screaming at them instead of saying thank you? That person's not going to continue to go out to help you so much because why are they going to sacrifice energy and time out of their lives just to be thanked with screams and derogatory responses, hostility, anger? So they'll just stop. You know what I mean? They don't have to argue with you. They don't have to go crazy. They'll just stop. You know what I mean? And that happens a lot of times. People will respond with hostility just because they were given criticism. But it's like if instead of just looking at the what of what's said, just the what, the content of what's said, it's more useful for us to look at the why. Why was it said? What is this information really conveying? Okay, say a baby. If a baby is learning his colors, we'll just say it's a boy. If a little boy is learning his colors, and purple and blue are real close and hard to tell apart, he can point at a blue sign and say purple. Why is that happening? It's because it looks like something that he's kind of familiar with. So if you, the parent, go and say, no, blue, blue, and then they start crying, they're more likely to say purple again. I'm using this example, I'm using an extreme example to make a point. But most babies, especially in their learning age, they like to learn things. They're open to that. So when you say blue, they go, oh, blue. That's how we have to be. That's how we need to become more like open to being told, no, not this, this, and just being glad that we don't have to be wrong anymore instead of being upset that we were corrected. It's like, it's about how we choose to look at things. And that's why I say take action, not offense, because it's really easy to take offense, but it's not so easy to take action. And that's why people tell us to take offense. Do the easy thing that's not really going to benefit you in the long run. That's what you'll be told to do. That's what we've been being told to do. So we can't continue to do that. You know what I mean? So thank you so much, AB, for the stars. I really appreciate you. Okay, there it is. So we want to make sure that we're open. Now, that doesn't mean allow everybody to tell us how to live our lives. No. But what I'm saying is once we know that a specific person in our life is saying something that's helping us grow, that's helping us have a better experience on this planet, when we know that that's the case, it is always, I'm serious when I tell you this, it is 100% of the time, always better to listen. Even if you know what they're saying, it's always better to listen because guess what? They can begin the story or the sentence saying something that you're already aware of. And right in the middle, Or even more specifically, right at the end, they can say something that you never thought of. And if you would have interrupted with oh yeah, 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 I know that because you got to woo, 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 you'd have never got it. See, a lot of times people miss out on valuable lessons that will literally make their lives better by just not listening. By not listening. Because patience isn't the thing that most people really value having a lot of and like talking about being. A lot of people don't talk about how patient they are. They talk about how quick they are to fight, how they don't take stuff, how they don't let nobody do this, woo woo woo. But not a lot of people brag about being patient. Why not? Isn't that a valuable thing? And if you don't think it's valuable, then mess up and want someone to be patient with you. If you don't think patience is valuable, remove everybody's patience for you. That's a tough life, man. Listen, that's a tough life. Nobody has patience. I'm on the last straw with everybody. I'm on my last straw with everybody. That's a tough existence, man. You talking about walking on eggshells. That's tough, bro. Hey, listen, I don't want no parts of that. I don't want, that's not my portion. That's not my portion. But it's valuable for us to not take offense, man, because the more open we are to valuable information, the faster we can grow. Because a lot of times people have to actually live through experiences to learn from it. And a lot of times people have to live through the same experience multiple times to learn from it, if we're being honest here. Right. So being that a lot of times people have to like experience the same thing multiple times to usually learn from it, then it's useful to be able to learn from looking at somebody else live. You see what I'm saying? That way you don't have to see this person, it happened to them, and then the next person happened to them, and the next person happened to them. And we just standing in line number 9, just waiting. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we just sitting there waiting for 8. No. Can't be that. Can't be that. Because why are we doing that? Why would that be the desired outcome? You see what I'm saying? Speaking of desired outcome, that's another reason why we need to value receiving constructive criticism. Because if we have a desired outcome, we have a certain expectation. Then if we listen to other people who are knowledgeable about it, who are experienced about it, then we can accelerate so fast. We can grow and improve so fast by just listening and being open again to valuable constructive criticism. But that's still making sure that the criticism that we're receiving is valuable. If you're doing something that you're experienced in and someone who's inexperienced comes and tries to tell you how you should be doing it, maybe you should verify to make sure, like, how do you know this? What made you say this that way? Could you show me? Like things like that, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people don't want to train. Like you'll go on the job, they'll tell you to do 17 things and train your 0. I know that's my experience, in different locations. A lot of jobs will just not care about the training part. Just go do it. And we'll chew you out after. But either way, so a lot of times if we're not knowledgeable about something, it's best to find out than to mess up, right? So instead of having to learn through experience and actually possibly messing up at times, it's more useful for us in our lives to be able to listen and learn from people who are more experienced and more knowledgeable and more wise in those areas, because they can rule out some of the errors or the mistakes that we could have ended up making. You've been there as well, huh? Hey, listen, it's a thing. It is indeed a thing. So, you're not by yourself. But that's the thing. I love you too, Dad. React to that. Love you too, Pops. So we want to make sure that we're open to that criticism, because again, it can just make our experience better. And like, I like to use coaching and like athletics and stuff, because again, I'm an athlete. So, I played football and stuff, sports when I was younger. So it's just a reality that if you don't get coached through something, or if you don't receive coaching through something, like, you're going to hit a ceiling at some point, and usually that point arrives pretty quickly. Like, it's not a lot of people who they just jumped into a sport their first year, didn't listen to any coach, had a bad attitude, never received any coaching, and then they went out there on the field and excelled, or went out there on the court and excelled. Like, that just doesn't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? Because thank you so much, Prissy, for the stars. I appreciate you. Because it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. We have to have some kind of we have to have a level of coachability. We have to truly progress, because there's no way we know everything. I'll tell you like this: everything you've learned has been outside of you. When you learned algebra, you had to go to learn that from a book and from a classroom. When you learn how to not touch a hot stove, it's because you touched something outside of you. You touched that. Oh, nah, I shouldn't do this ever again in my life. Yeah. See, we learn outside, and the way we learn is by pulling the information in. That's how we learn. And that's why they talk about retaining, holding on to information. How long can you retain it? How long can you hold on to it? It's because it's outside of us and we have to bring it in. So when a person is presenting it to us through criticism, we didn't even have to go look for it. We can just reel it on in. So in those moments, that's more useful and more beneficial for our desired outcome, which should always be improving and getting better at whatever we want to do, whatever we're currently doing. We always want to improve, because I'm gonna tell you something: you don't stay the same. I don't care what anyone says to you, you do not stay the same. We either get better or we get worse. There's no staying the same, because if you stand still for an entire day, don't move at all, you're going to lose weight because you didn't eat food. Even if you don't use the bathroom, let's say for the whole 24 hours, nothing leaves your body. You don't use the bathroom, you're still going to lose weight just for existing. Something has to happen for you to maintain your residence here. That's how people starve to death. They didn't have enough food to stay on this side of the plane. Change. It's only so long that it can happen. So there's no such thing as staying the same. We either get better or we get worse. And we have to be dedicated to not only getting better for ourselves, but getting better for the people we care about and the people who care about us. We want to become the best version of ourselves so we can be useful for the people who we say, I love you to. And the better we are overall, the more useful we can be for those people. But if as soon as they ask us for a question, ask us for assistance, we respond with hostility or some type of attitude, we're not going to be the person that they depend on in those moments, because it takes a lot for people to ask for help. So when they're met with hostility or anger or being laughed at and joked about or ridiculed, and they're less likely to ever do that again with you. You know what I mean? So we don't ever really want to do that, ever. So instead of responding emotionally through any emotional, very valuable insight. Thank you. What's up, son? Love you too. And you're welcome. But yeah, so we want to make sure that we're always open to listening to valuable criticism as people are, because the more valuable, the more we learn and the more we progress as an individual. Slow down, Stephen. As an individual, the more we're able to progress and the better we're able to be for the people around us. And that's honestly like one of my main goals, because that was the main thing that Jesus was doing. He didn't just, I'll give you an example. In the Bible, one of the disciples, Peter, Jesus told Peter to go and catch fish, 2 fish. And he said, one of the fish he said, open the mouth and it'll be full of gold. Side note, where y'all think those little fish themed wallets, those coin purses, where y'all think that came from? Anyway, he said there'll be gold in that fish, right? Now, why didn't Jesus just do that all the time? He could have just walked to the shore. I mean, right to the edge of the shore every day, had a fish run up with some gold, grab the gold, buy whatever you want, just live life, just balling out. He could have done that. If he did it once, why couldn't he do it again? So why didn't he do that? It's because we don't improve to only make our lives better. We improve to make the lives better of, honestly, as many people as we can, but especially the people who are near us and that we have like close proximity to. But honestly, as many people as we possibly can, that's really the goal. Because I mean, do we really want to cap off how many souls we help bring to heaven? Like, all right, Lord, I brought you 50. I don't need 53. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we ever really want to cap that? I don't think we ever really want to cap that off. You know what I mean? So being that that's the case, we want to be open to criticism, man. We want to continuously have a hunger to improve, have a true desire to be better. Have a desire to be better. If you look in the mirror and you see problems, you see things that you're not happy about, or you see that you're doing things that you're not happy about, don't stop there. Don't just stop at the fact that a problem exists. A problem's existence is a guarantee of a solution's existence. And if I'm being honest with you, the solution is actually created first. The problem happening is to make you aware of the solution's existence. Perfect point. I'll just give you a real easy case. Let's say you see two people arguing down the street, and you're walking on the sidewalk and they start shooting, and you see there's a building to your right. You can get behind that building and you'll be blocked. The solution for you to not get hit by a bullet was the building, but the building already existed before bullets were flying. You see what I'm saying? So the problem was the bullets flying and the possibility of getting shot. But when you get behind that wall that's right there, you no longer are in any trajectory of any bullets, so you're not going to get hit. So the solution to your problem existed before the problem itself. That's how they all are. I'm telling you something. That's how they all are. No problem exists before a solution because God doesn't create unsolvable problems. So if a problem exists, the solution to it existed first. Does that make sense? There has to be a solution. It's just like when they say he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. And it's a different one. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. That's the one I was actually trying to think of. He didn't bring us this far for us to stop here. And we already know that because the Bible tells us that the race isn't given to the swift or the strong, but to the one who endures to the end. So he obviously didn't give us something to make us not be able to finish the race because he wants us to finish the race. That's the only way to win. Right? So if a problem, whenever we notice a problem exists, it's not for us to be upset about it. It's not for us to panic and fret. It's not for any of that. I know fret's not a common word, but you got that. It's not for any of those things to happen. It is for us to seek the solution and apply it. And then we tell the people around us what happened. See, a lot of times a problem will happen and then people will go tell everybody around them about the problem that happened. That's not how we're supposed to do it. The way we're supposed to do it is once we see the problem, we immediately start searching for the solution. Once we solve the problem, then we go tell the people about how we solve the problem. Because when they see the problem show up in their life, they'll already know how to fix it. That's how it's supposed to go. That's the actual order it's supposed to go. We're not supposed to communicate our problems. We're supposed to, and now that doesn't mean we're not supposed to ask for help with our problems. These are different things. I want to make this clear. I'm not saying we're not supposed to ask for help in our problems, but I'm talking about when a person just wants to vent and talk about how bad something is without the intentions of a solution. That's what I'm speaking on right now. Okay, I want to be clear about that because I'm not saying suffer in silence and don't ask for help. I would never suggest that. So I just want to be clear about that. But we want to make sure that when we're progressing again, that the main goal, I want to go back to what I was talking about with Jesus and the fish with gold in it. First of all, Jesus didn't go and get the fish himself. That's important. Because he could have just walked up with a bunch of gold and said, oh, yeah, I got this out of a fish. Or he could have waited until all of them were around, could have walked to the water and grabbed the fish out. He could have done all of those things, but he didn't make it about himself. Hey, Peter, you go and get that. You see what I'm saying? So, again, we want to make sure that we're not just progressing and trying to gain more things just to boast self and be better for self. We want to make sure that satisfying our own appetite is not the reason why we're doing these things, because that's never going to last. And if it does, it will become greed and consume the person engaging in it. I hope that makes sense. So we don't have the luxury of doing those things. You know what I mean? So again, we want to take action. When people are giving us helpful information saying, hey, you didn't do this right. You should do it this way. Hey, if you wouldn't have did this way, it wouldn't have turned out this way. If you would have did this. When we're receiving constructive criticism, we need to be open. And I'm going to tell you an easy way to help out with this. If somebody gives you criticism, whether you like it or not, simply say, Lord Jesus, I ask that you allow me to pull all of the useful information from what was said to me and soak it in and throw away everything that is not. I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Boom. Easy. Quick. But we have to do these things, and we have to say it with a sincere heart. You know what I'm saying? Because again, when Jesus made that fish come up with the gold in his mouth, he didn't go and make it about him. He didn't even go and get the fish himself, because he wasn't doing that because he was worried about himself. So our goals can't be focused on self either. You know what I mean? Sure, we want to progress and we want nice things, of course, but it can't end there, is what I'm saying. That can be included, of course, that should be included, but it can't be the only thing that's there. It can't be the end game, because that'll be game over, because that can't last. What we do for ourselves, the heaven and earth shall pass away, but the things of Jesus will not. The word of God will not pass away. So what we do for Jesus is what will last, not what we do for ourselves. You know what I mean? What we do for Christ is what will last. So when we do that, when we keep that in mind, and again, we have this desire to progress and to keep being better and getting better, we have to look at ourselves again and see, what are we doing? Not necessarily just what are we doing wrong, but what are the things that we're doing that we can improve on? What are the things that we're doing that we can do better? We can be better in those areas. We want to see those and then find those ways to improve. You know what I mean? So, in closing, don't worry about taking offense and being offended. It is a waste of your time, and you are better than that. And I'm not saying this sarcastically. I'm not saying this to be funny at all. I'm saying this because I mean it. Do not waste your time on being offended. We do not have time to waste, and you are better than that. Look for how the information can help you, because the Bible also says all things work for the good of those who love God. Everything will work for your good. But you have to look for your good in everything to see it. You have to look for your advantage in every situation for you to see it. Because if you look for your disadvantage in every situation, you will also see that. Does that make sense? So we want to make sure we are not wasting our time being offended, because you are far, far better than that. And I mean that. We want to be open to and receive constructive criticism. That way, we can keep being better and become more useful for the people that we love. And when they come to us upset, hurting, or crying, not knowing what to do, we can say something and we can do something to wipe those tears away. Because we did the work to become more useful. Because we're doing the work to become more useful. I'm going to ask y'all to do a few free things. I'm going to ask you to like the video, because liking these lives will increase, it gets the algorithms going to send the videos out to more people. I want you to comment something that stood out to you in this video or something that you thought of while listening to this. And I want you to share this to someone who you think can find value in what was said here. And then I'm going to give you a few free things too. 1, I'm going to tell you I love you. 2, I'm going to tell you that I appreciate you. And 3, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to holla at you. Y'all have a great night. I appreciate y'all so much. Take action, not offense. Y'all have a good one.